Military psy-ops using Twitter as a platform. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. The Twitter files continue, this time touching on direct, if not overtly violent, warfare against various peoples. We deal here with psychological warfare, psy-ops, instilling fear in people to control their acts. A free people might expect to see that against their enemies. But who are these enemies? This thread reveals manipulation of civilian and government opinion in the Middle East and Asia, when we have no outstanding declarations of war. And some of the targets are also the targets of propaganda for domestic consumption. So in view of previous installments in the Twitter files, we must ask ourselves, haven't the military been running a psy-op against we the people? Before I answer, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I've chosen for today, which reads, "Freedom isn't free." Why did I choose this t-shirt? Because this story concerns our military and a very ugly side of it. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click there and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, so long as it's legal tender. The thread comes from a Mr. Lee Fang, F-A-N-G, who writes for The Intercept. But unlike the state actor Revelation, this one does not take any kind of defensive or much less a gloating tone. As ever, I have links in the description to every other tweet in the thread, 11 in all. Mr. Fang started tweeting at 12:02 p.m. Pacific time. Thread begins. Twitter Files, Part 8. How Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon's covert online psy-op campaign. Despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter docs show that the social media giant directly assisted the U.S. military's influence operations. Twitter has claimed for years that they made concerted efforts to detect and thwart government-backed platform manipulation. Twitter testified to Congress about its pledge to rapidly identify and shut down all state-backed covert information operations and deceptive propaganda. But behind the scenes, Twitter gave approval and special protection to the U.S. military's online psychological influence operations. Despite knowledge that Pentagon propaganda accounts used covert identities, Twitter did not suspend many for around 2 years or more, and some are still active. In 2017, a U.S. Central Command official, or CENTCOM official, sent Twitter a list of 52 Arab language accounts that, quote, we use to amplify certain messages, close quote. The official asked for priority service for 6 accounts, verification for 1, and whitelist abilities for the others. The same day CENTCOM sent that list, Twitter officials used a tool to grant a special whitelist tag that essentially provides verification status to the accounts without the blue check mark, meaning they are exempt from spam or abuse flags, more visible and likely to trend on hashtags. The CENTCOM accounts on the list tweeted frequently about U.S. military priorities in the Middle East, including promoting anti-Iran messages, promotion of the Saudi Arabia-U.S.-backed war in Yemen, and accurate U.S. drone strikes that claim to hit only terrorists. CENTCOM then shifted strategies and deleted disclosures of ties to the Twitter accounts. The biographies of the accounts changed to seemingly organic profiles. One bio read, Euphrates Pulse. Another used an apparent deep fake profile pic and claimed to be a source of Iraqi opinion. One Twitter official who spoke to me said he feels deceived by the covert ship, Still, many emails from throughout 2020 show that high-level Twitter executives were well aware of DOD's vast network of fake accounts and government propaganda and did not suspend the accounts. For example, Twitter lawyer Jim Baker, and where have you heard that name before, eh? Mused in a July 2020 email about an upcoming DOD meeting that the Pentagon used poor tradecraft in setting up its network and were seeking strategies for not exposing the accounts that are linked to each other or the DOD or the U.S. government. Stacia Cardiel, another Twitter attorney, replied that the Pentagon wanted an SCIF and many may want to retroactively classify its social media activities to obfuscate their activity in this space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment. In several other 2020 emails, high-level Twitter executives and lawyers discussed the covert network and even recirculated the 2017 list from CENTCOM, and shared another list of 157 undisclosed Pentagon accounts, again, mostly focused on Middle East military issues. In a May 2020 email, Twitter's Lisa Roman emailed the DOD with two lists. One list was accounts previously provided to us, and another list that Twitter detected. The accounts tweeted in Russian and Arabic on U.S. military issues in Syria or related to ISIS, and many also did not disclose Pentagon ties. Many of these secretive U.S. military propaganda accounts, despite detection by Twitter as late as 2020, but potentially earlier, continued tweeting through this year, some not suspended until May 2022 or later, according to records I have reviewed. In August 2022, a Stanford Internet Observatory report exposed a U.S. military covert propaganda network on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and other apps using fake news portals and deep fake images and memes against U.S. foreign adversaries. The U.S. propaganda network relentlessly pushed narratives against Russia, China, and other foreign countries. They accused Iran of threatening Iraq's water security and flooding the country with crystal meth, and of harvesting the organs of Afghan refugees. Stop. That's pretty ugly stuff. Kind of stuff I literally would not wish on my worst enemies. Now, there's not much left, but I want to take time out to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You are not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, let's pick up the thread for 3 more paragraphs. Continue. The Stanford report did not identify all of the accounts in the network, but one they did name was the exact same Twitter account CENTCOM asked for whitelist privileges in its 2017 email. I verified, meaning Li Fang verified, via Twitter's internal tools. The account used an AI-created deepfake image. In subsequent reporting, Twitter was cast as an unbiased hero for removing a network of fake user accounts promoting pro-Western policy positions. Media covering the story described Twitter as evenly applying its policies and proactive in suspending the DoD network. The reality is much more murky. Twitter actually actively assisted CENTCOM's network going back to 2017 and as late as 2020. They knew these accounts were covert or designed to deceive and manipulate the discourse, which is a violation of Twitter's policies and promises. They waited years to respond. Twitter's communications team was closely in touch with reporters, working to minimize Twitter's role. When the Washington Post reported on the scandal, Twitter officials congratulated each other because the story didn't mention any Twitter employees and focused largely on the Pentagon. The conduct with the U.S. military's covert network stands in stark contrast with how Twitter has boasted about rapidly identifying and taking down covert accounts tied to state-backed influence operations, including Thailand, Russia, Venezuela, and others, since 2016. Here is my reported piece with more detail. I was given access to Twitter for a few days. I signed and agreed to nothing. Twitter had no input into anything I did or wrote. The searches were carried out by a Twitter attorney, so what I saw could be limited. If you want details about how I go about my reporting, a little more about myself, and further documentation and discussion, I just started a Substack. Sign up here. End of thread. The tweets include embedded links and images to back up this text. In fact, the next to last tweet links to an article in which Mr. Fang makes his case in greater detail. At first view, certain characteristics of this thread make it look like something other than a legitimate Twitter files release. Li Fang writes for The Intercept, not for the Free Press. Mike Schellenberger, at the close of Twitter File 7, did not tease up a thread from this man. Nevertheless, Elon Musk gave it his sanction in a retweet on his account. I have a link to it in the description. In retweeting the account, Elon says one word: yikes. Not what you say when you want to disavow any approval or knowledge of this kind of thread. George Washington is widely reputed to have said, and I quote, "Government is not reason, it is not eloquent, it is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearsome master." Dispute all you want whether he really said that. It's still true whether he said it or not. More to the point, this thread shows the danger from the servant. We ask of government that it protect us from criminals and foreign would-be invaders, in addition to providing a forum to settle disputes peaceably. The problem is that those charged with protecting the people sometimes exaggerate the threats. They might even try to provoke violence abroad to support their claims of external threats. In any case, we see here acts of war against peoples and powers against whom Congress has never declared war. The most we've ever seen from Congress in any of these cases the thread mentions are authorizations for the use of military force. Last time I checked, that doesn't cover military psy-ops. Hey, did any of you see a 1999 film titled The General's Daughter? If you did, do you remember what that actress, what was her name? Leslie Stephenson, who portrayed Captain Elizabeth Campbell, U.S. Army, told Warrant Officer Paul Bremer, played by John Travolta, what she taught at the psy-ops school. She said, and I have to valorize, mostly we fool with people's minds, close quote. That's what psy-ops is all about. The mind is the theater of psychological warfare. So how can we rule out the military practicing psy-ops against the American people? And hasn't the United States intelligence community been doing psy-ops against the people? Hasn't Twitter been a part of that? And not Twitter only. Don't leave out Facebook. I told you about that the evening before last, didn't I? And more important still than that scandal is Twitter's communications team and executive echelon pretending to stand against such deception while aiding and abetting it. How can we have confidence in the integrity of a social medium, officials of which tolerate acts of this kind? Did Elon Musk tell us yikes? Yikes doesn't half say it. Link in the description of the article, to the thread, to Elon Musk's reaction, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to conservative news and views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and links to my Twitter Files playlist, to my State Actor video, and to the Quartering's take on this latest thread. This is Terry A. Hurlbut, delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.